What you want, I got it. I got what you need, I got it. Welcome to the show. Get ready for the major leagues, alright. All my life I said I'm gonna be one of the greats. Now I'm finally here. Ain't nothing about this fake. Oh, it's a real thing. Oh, it's a real thing. Yeah. All my life I said it. I'm gonna be one of the greats. Oh, it's a real thing. Got the heart of a lion, strong as iron, with a fire burning in my soul. There's a chip on my shoulder that looked like a mountain from every time someone said no.
What's up, everybody? The Cappuccino is back on another episode of The Art of Leveling Up, how to level up your business, how to level up your life. Listen, we only visit here on the old Blueberry. So what do we do, and how do people level up their life, and how does that help them level up their business, right? It's been a long time awaiting. Sorry, it's been such a gap in time since the show, but we got a great guest for you today. But first, listen, this show is brought to you by DCCS, Dynamic Conversion Consulting Services, from anything from real estate to insurance, technology, human resource, talent management, academy, and media, soup to nuts in business. With a vetted back end, we are able to help with a single point of communication. Also, we have big thanks to Aldrin Briones here, producing in the back there. He is behind the curtain, behind the microphone, which he never turns it on because his voice is worth millions of dollars. Thanks, Aldrin, for everything that you do. We do appreciate you. Aldrin is with a company here that we're partnered in with, Piano Trends, local business. So listen, if you're outside of the area, if you're in the area and you are looking for an instrument, pianotrendsmusic.com. Did I say that right? Is it pianotrendsmusic.com? Get yourself a flute, get yourself a guitar. Obviously they sell pianos. So, buy two, buy three. You can stack them on each other. You can make Legos out of them. They're great. It's a great product. These guys are very competitive in price. They also do lease to own instruments for schools. That's right? And lessons as well, right, Adrian? So very important. We appreciate the sponsorship and the partnership from Piano Trends. Listen, and when you want to level up, one of the best things you can do is always find the who. And today we're going to be talking about the who. And the who today is Lori Karpman. If you're looking to build a strong brand and expand your business, Lori is a person to talk to. Lori is a multi-award winning management consultant with over 35 years in the franchise industry. She helps executive entrepreneurs, professionals, and corporations, especially franchisors. I hope I said that right. Franchisors reach their next level of success. With customized consulting approach, she helps her clients enhance professional and personal development skills, allowing them to stretch to their full potential. Let's bring in Lori. Lori, welcome to the show.
I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Drew.
We have met in a networking group that I own, and listening to you and how my business runs, we run almost parallel, which is awesome. There's a lot of things that we could do together, and helping as many people as possible. And I love your mission to that. And you are a multi-talented person, where I am more of a broker. You actually carry the talent, which I love, So real quick, Lori, what created the spark? Why don't you tell me a little bit about your business, and then tell me what created that spark to do what you do?
Well, interestingly enough, I started my career as an attorney. I spent 7 years doing tax practice. And a friend of mine called me, and he worked for this multi-billion-dollar company. And they had all these holdings in the franchise industry, and they were looking for in-house legal counsel. So he asked me if I knew anybody, and I said, yeah, me. So I left private practice. I went in-house, and the company that I worked for had owned 3 different chains of restaurants, and they were franchised. So in one company, they were the franchisor, but in another company, they were the franchisee. So it was really interesting for me because every day I sat on both sides of the fence, representing franchisor or representing franchisee. So I got a really good sense of how franchising should work from a 360-degree perspective. So I took that knowledge, I went out and I created a chain of restaurants from scratch, which I subsequently franchised. And then I sold the business when I had 21 locations. And then I was like, okay, I'm grown up. What am I going to do with my life now? And I thought, well, what do I know? I know franchising. I'm a lawyer, so I know the legal, I know the financial, the marketing, the sales, the operations. And I said, there's nobody out there that's been on all three sides, plus has the legal. So I decided to open a full service franchise consulting firm. So brands come to us because they want to franchise their business. And we are a completely done for you service. We're the only firm like that where we're a completely done for you turnkey from A to Z.
Wow, that's impressive. And inside of that, you with speaking, right? You're a speaker as well as maybe teach or write speeches for people.
Yeah, I do a lot of writing. So I write. One of the things that I love to do is to write. So I write websites, I write brochures and blogs and email drip campaigns and speeches and video narrations, anything like that, because writing really is my passion. It's why I became a lawyer, because I love to write. And so now I'm just taking that same skill set, and instead of using legal language, I'm using marketing language.
Wow, you're like a quadruple threat.
Oh,
You're your own legal, you're your own everything, and you're probably going to tell me you do copywriting as well.
I do tons of copywriting. Tons. That's my favorite part of what I do is copywriting.
Wow, that's so. Are you have employees? Are you locally based? Is this all on you, or how does that work?
Well, I actually live in Canada, but all my business and all my clients are in the United States. So I do have a team. I have a couple of people who are in the US. I have a director of sales and I have a virtual assistant. So, and then I have others that are freelancers that, do different things for me in terms of the franchise consulting projects.
So, and we can bring up your website here in a second, but it states on there that you're a very unique niche brand. Talk to us about that a little bit. What makes you unique?
What makes me unique in the franchise industry is that I've been a franchisor twice. I've been a master franchisee. I've started a franchise chain from scratch, and I have 38 years of franchise legal experience. And it's very rare to find people in franchising that, especially franchise attorneys that have actually been in business, that have been a franchisor or a franchisee. So what makes me unique is that the advice I give is very different because I have the business background and the business experience, not just the legal part.
Well, and so you have, I think most importantly is you have the hands-on experience with the nightmares that went along with that, right? So the lesson learned comes from not just failure as an education, but not just that, but it's all those hard times that hit you in the face like a ton of bricks that you're able to say, okay, and then find the best practice for that. And now you see those similar patterns, because I think everything is made up of a pattern to where you see those patterns that your customers go through and you're like, I know how to fix that, right?
Yep.
So you are the who that knows the how, and not everybody can do that. Out of curiosity. So if I owned a franchise or was looking to franchise out, but I'm just chasing tail, right? What are the red flags for me to go, man, I got to learn to let go and find the who? What are those red flags? So everybody knows, like, hey, man, you might be stuck in this spot. You don't even realize it. You need somebody.
Well, for a business that has, let's say, one or two successful locations, what they hear from people is, oh, you should open this in my neighborhood, or when are you coming to my town? Or they realize that they really have something and they want to expand and they want to scale their business. Most small brands do not have the money to scale their own business.
Right.
They don't, if they want to open 10 locations in 1 year, let's say they're $100,000 each. So they have to go to the bank. They could borrow $1 million and put up 10 locations. Then they have $1 million of debt. And they also have to run and manage all the employees for 10 locations. Alternatively, they choose franchising, which is a financing model. So instead of borrowing $1 million, you find 10 people that each have 100,000, and you teach them to do what you do. So franchising is a way to build your business using other people's money. And that's why I really like that model. So usually you hear people think and say, well, I really want to expand, but I don't have the money to do it.
So do you ever get, so Lori, if I do that, am I cutting myself out of that picture too much by expanding and teaching people to do what I do? How does that work?
No, actually, what you do is to create a franchise, one of the first things that we create is called an operations manual. And that's a living, breathing document that is everything that somebody would need to know on how to run this business. Yeah. So when you buy a franchise, that's what you're getting, is you're getting a business in a box. Gotcha. And so, they give you all the tools that you need to build your business.
And then they're able to pay a franchise fee to the owner of the franchise, right? And then they're on their own basically to run that business. Is that how that works, or am I misconstrued on that?
Well, they're never on their own. That's the one thing about franchising, is you're never on your own. I mean, the motto of franchising is to be in business for yourself, but not by yourself.
Yep.
And it's the franchisor's responsibility to make sure that the franchisee has all the tools that they need in order to build their business. So you're never left alone. There's always new recipes that are coming to you, new promotions that are coming to you, new educational tools that are coming to you. So the franchisor has a responsibility to make sure that its businesses are all running consistently and all making money.
And so the way it's contracted, let's say cappuccino pizza, right? And I got 5 people that are investing into this, and they want to be. And so here's my recipes. This is consistency for that branch, right? But they're like, one guy's like, well, cappuccino, I have great recipes too, and that's what I'm going to do. You see that a lot?
I see that. And as soon as I see that, I say, you're not a good candidate to be a franchisee.
Gotcha.
Franchisees are a very particular group. We have business owners, we call them entrepreneurs because they have all these ideas and they bring it to the business. In franchising, what we're looking for is what we call intrapreneurs. So intrapreneurs have ideas, but they understand that they have to work within a framework. Mm-hmm. So franchisors always want to hear the ideas that the franchisees have, but the franchisees have to understand they can't just go and change something. They can't just go and implement something new. They bought a system and they have to work the system.
So if, I love how you put that. So if basically they're able to say, I'm a lost candidate, right? I'm saying, you know what? I want to start a business. I really don't know what business to start or where to go with it or even how to. But if you were to go buy into a franchise, there's education, right? There's an SOP. There's best practices already put in play. This is what we sell. This is what we do. And then you are running that location. And, is it a percentage usually that goes back, or is it a flat fee that goes back to the franchise owners?
There are 3 different fees in franchising. So the first fee is called the initial franchise fee. And that's somewhere between, depending on the brand, $30,000 and $70,000. And what that fee is, that's a one-time fee that you pay upfront for the rights to the franchise. So that's the one-time fee. That also covers all of your costs for training, getting your store open, all of those kinds of things. So all the startup costs are all included in that. Then on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, depending on the brand, you pay a percentage of your gross revenues to the franchisor. So usually it's anywhere between 6 and 10% of gross sales. And the third number is an advertising budget. So franchisors maintain a national ad account, and franchisees contribute usually about 2% of their sales per month into this national branding account. And the franchisor uses that money to create promotions, to create the website, to help the franchisees promote, to come up with new, ideas or products. So those are the 3 fees that are generally paid.
Okay. And so, and I'll ask you to put your lawyer hat back on. So copyright, a lot of times what you're and correct me if I'm wrong, are you telling a lot of people who are starting franchises, listen, your recipes, your all this other stuff, we need to copyright that stuff. So it's in a contract to where I don't want to do cappuccino pizza anymore. I'm going to do espresso pizza, and espresso pizza is going to carry the same recipe. I'm going to use that recipe. I'm going to, it's a little bit, it's called theft, right? Mm-hmm. So is that where the copyright comes in play, or how does that work?
The copyright, I mean, there's not really as much copywriting in franchising as there is trademarking or licensing. So you have to make sure that you own your brand name. So when you're deciding to franchise your business, the first thing you need to do is look at whether or not the name of your business can be trademarked. Because if it cannot be trademarked, you cannot franchise.
I got you.
So there are brands, for example, there's a Canadian brand that operates under one name in Canada. They couldn't get that in the US, so they operate under a different name in the US. So here they're trade secrets. In the US, they're glamour secrets because they couldn't get the trademark in the US. So it's really important that you be able to trademark your name and your logo. That's the part that's most important.
What's some of the biggest struggles that you come across running your business and dealing with your clients to get them to understand? What is the most common thing? So when people see this out there, they're like, okay, I understand, because they've already seen it, right? Right. What is that one big struggle that happens?
The biggest struggle that I see from brands that, that contact me is that they're all over the place. They don't have an organization, or they have an organization, but they don't have operating procedures. And, when someone buys a franchise, they're buying basically the operations manual. The operations manual is like a 200-page living, breathing document that teaches you how to run that business. So when you're buying a franchise, you're effectively buying that operations manual. So when brands come to me and they say, well, we don't have the money to franchise yet, I always say to them, start working on your operations manual, because you can start working on that yourself. And this way, when you do decide to franchise, you'll have a lot of the work already done.
I can see that happening a lot. And so when you're, how many projects, you don't have to give me names, but how many projects are you currently working on right now with this?
For my franchise consulting, I usually keep it to probably a maximum of about 5 brands at any one time. And that's because I am known in the industry for my personalized, customized service. We provide a whole range of services, but the only person the client talks to is me. They don't deal with my copywriter. They don't deal with a content manager. They don't deal with a graphic artist. They don't deal with an operations. They don't deal with any of these people. It's all through me. So that's what really makes me unique, because they get me and they're getting the benefit of my 30 years of experience, or 40 years, but they're also getting the fact that every single part of their franchise business is being looked at with the same set of eyes. So they know that everything is consistent.
That's a good answer.
Yeah. That's really, that's really the difference of what I offer.
And, I know you're a business coach. I'm a coach too. And, we always preach, and I know you do the same. When you overextend yourself, you don't get that warm and fuzzy to your clients that they just deserve for what they're paying for. Right. And you need the focus on that, especially if it's just you. I'm, same here. I have a ton of contractors, right? Vendors, contractors, but they deal with me until the handoff to a vetted network really works out. And that's, at that point, if I need to get involved, if somebody's not happy, I will. Right. But I don't try to sell somebody's business that I'm not aware of. If they need it, I can fill the need by giving you the right person. Right. You are the right person. You kind of do a little bit of all of the above, which is fantastic, especially in that market, in that marketplace. You're taking people from a bootstrap mom and pop all the way to an SMB market, where they can go from there and they grow into a enterprise corporation. Oh yeah. I've worked with brands that have come to me when they have 2 locations and now they're over 100. Right. Right. So that's the thing about franchising. It's a repeatable process. And that's wonderful. Like Portillo's, and that's a free one, Portillo's. You'll have to pay for the next one. But yeah, we'll do a quick plug, but that's a great concept, right? So started a hot dog stand. They grew into this entity, and they had a few locations, and then they exploded, right? All the way to the point where they sold. And who doesn't or isn't aware of that name or that brand? which is where you are able to take people from that startup position into this market where they have a location, maybe expanding into 2, or already have 2, and they're like, how do we manage to push this to the next level, right? How do we level this up? Welcome to the show, Leveling Up. So then that's where you come into play. You have the legal, you have the best practice. You're able to show them what they need to do, teach them what they need to do. And ultimately, this is all coaching advice to where you can't write it for them. You can't do it for them. You don't know their best practice because you're not sitting in that chair on a day-to-day basis, but you're able to guide them on how to do that. And then when they're done with it, you're able to take to the next step, right?
Yeah.
What is the step process? How many steps into, we already know that you got to create that manual, right? You're buying the business in a box. So you got the manual done, right? What would be the next step after that?
The legal documents. So in order to sell a franchise, you have to have a franchise agreement, and you have to have another document, which is called a franchise disclosure document. And that's a document that you register in all the states that you want to sell franchises in. So you can't sell a franchise until your business is registered in that state. So one of the first things we do is we look for the trademark. The second thing we do is we get them started on their ops manuals. We give them templates, get them started. And I start working on the legal documents at that time. So I will work, to do the legal documents while they work on the ops manual. Once that's done, then I do what's called a strategic marketing plan. So I give them a complete roadmap on how to sell franchises. So it's a 20-page document that says, these are all the advertising things you should do. These are the shows. Like, if money were no object, how would I sell these franchises? And then they go and either they implement that, or they can hire me on a monthly retainer and I will implement it for them. Nice.
So if it's just too much, you put your foot in the door and say, okay, let's do this. Love it.
I try to save them money. So I say, listen, this is stuff you can do yourself. Sometimes they say to me, that's awesome, I'd love to save them money. And sometimes they say to me, Lori, we don't want to do it ourselves. We're happy to pay you to do it.
And Eldrin, let's bring up her website real quick. So we have this, and listen, folks, you can see the LORIKARPMAN .com. Check out our website. We got a QR up there. Does that go to your calendar, Lori? Where does that go?
Yes.
Listen, you can go right to this lady's calendar. How open door is that? Aldrin, if you have a problem and would you ever think that you could just scan somebody's calendar and get on it and know that you'll have that appointment? Well, part of the problems today is I made a call, I left a voicemail, and never got a return call. I left an email, I'm like, hey, where were we at? And I never get a return email. Texting, the people texting, but the people get so many texts now that it gets buried in there. You want to talk to Lori, scan that QR code, get on her calendar. I'm sure that there's 1,001 ways to Sunday to get a hold of her, but that's probably your best bet. Am I right on that?
Yep. And there's you can just go schedule time with me, and then you'll be right on my calendar or the QR code.
That's fantastic. So, Aldrin, what do we got on there? Can we enlarge that full screen? Is that doable? Possibly. Maybe not. Okay. Not a big deal. It's just I'm so far from the screen, so I don't know. So there's a contact us on there as well. And then, there we go. Thank you. So we got testimonials. So we got people that have already gone through this, that are going to, you're looking for references, go to her website. It'll tell you exactly. I mean, listen, she is an award winner. This is how you level up. Don't be afraid to get out there. Don't be that person to where you're like, I don't need help, because there's a lot of that. A lot of people go, what do I need somebody for? I got this. And then, you're still staying stalemate. You want to climb that ladder. Sometimes you got to open up your mind, open up those doors, find the right who. And for this, Lori is the right who. And I do believe that if you go back there, go to services. There you go. And there's tons of different things that label what she does. Do you got anything you want to add to that, Lori?
No, I mean, one of the things that, that isn't as highlighted in here, well, if you go into the services, there's a page for copywriting and content creation. Professional copywriting is the last one. And just wanted to mention that, businesses always need content. You have to put out content. And that's one of the things that we've been doing. And we've been building this part of the business this year, which is creating professional content for businesses. So whether it's a blog or website, a brochure, email drip campaign, that's something that we've really been doing a lot of lately.
Hey, it's funny. In my technical division, we do web design. We have partners that do web design, and they always get the build me the website. And they're usually like, I need content.
Yeah.
People can't do what you do. They do what they do, but you got to give them what you do in order for them to do what they do.
Correct.
Does that make sense? I know it's a lot of
total sense.
Yeah. So thanks for pulling that up, Aldrin. I appreciate it. So, and when someone comes on, and I know time's getting short here, so I don't want to drag. I could talk to you for like 3 hours straight. We have so much in common.
Yeah.
And I love what you do about helping others. So when it comes down to the gun, what advice would you give anybody either starting a business or wanting to level it up in that space?
Speak to me early. That's what I tell people. People I've heard them say to me, I'm thinking of franchising my business, but I'm not really ready yet, or I don't have the money yet. Well, that's when you need to speak to me, is before you're ready, because there's lots of things that a brand can do on their own that can save themselves money. And I'm not here to rob people. So I'm happy to tell them, listen, you can save yourself $10,000 on my fees if you do this now. It's really important. Like when I started my chain of restaurants, I knew from day one that I was going to franchise it. And that impacts all the decisions that you make in your business. So just as an example, if you're in food and you want to franchise, you need to make sure that those food products and all those supplies can be obtained by anyone across the United States or Canada. So you can't just look at local vendors. You need to look at national vendors, even though you probably only have one location. So there's a lot of things that they could speak to me about early so that they can start putting these things in place so they don't have to go back and redo it later.
Interesting. So let's say I have a franchise or I want a franchise and I've been thinking about it, right? Mm-hmm. And I tell you, I just don't have the money to do that yet. And you're like, well, this is the time to do that. If I can't do that, how am I going to afford you right now?
I can find anybody financing. So if you're looking for financing to build your business, I can find you money. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So
I have a whole bailiwick of lenders. And if my lenders can finance you, you're not financeable.
Gotcha. That way, that you need more time anyways to even think about it. Right. Wow. Fantastic. Lori, you're a wonderful, wonderful person. I love having you on the show. You're a great member of Shared Connections, our networking group together in personal and professional development.
Love it.
Absolutely fantastic person for what you do. Real quick, pop her banner back up for, yep, there you go. Lori Karpman, .com. Listen, if you're thinking about it, and why wouldn't you be? Give her a call. Get on that calendar. Find out what she can do now. And you heard it. If she's going to help, find the finance if you don't have it. She's going to help. She's going to lead you, hold your hand through the whole stepping process.
Yeah.
And build that relationship with you, because we all know that's what it's really about. I wouldn't have her on my show if she wasn't part of a trusted network. So, Lori, we appreciate you. Thank you for your time today.
It's been my pleasure.
You'd love to do a follow-up next year to see how you're doing with your business and some of the new projects that you've got going on. And definitely we need to talk a little bit about, some of the services that maybe we can help you and your clients as well through DCCS here at the Art of Leveling Up. Listen, folks, I'm Drew Cappuccino. It's never too late to level up your business. It's never too late to level up your personal development. Just remember, life is not work, but if you focus a little more on life, your work kind of works out for you. Don't bury yourself. The stress isn't worth it. You know how I work, the cappuccino way. And until next time, we appreciate you here at 216 Creator Studios. Big thanks to the team there. I'm Drew from DCCS. Enjoy the rest of your day.